So I recently went to the UK and I didn't go to the normal place everyone goes to, London. I actually have been to London 2 times now and I landed there 3 times, but I ended up in this small town called Derby, or the way you're supposed to pronounce it is Derby. At least that's what the UK people were telling me. And one place that I went to that I thought was really beautiful and was really cool, and this just shows how we don't really have as much history here in the United States, at least when it comes to like the structures we have here. Obviously there was a really cool church called the Derby Cathedral, basically. So the Derby Cathedral was technically started in 943. It was the first church on this site dedicated to All Saints, which was founded by King Edmund of Wessex. Then in 1510 the old church tower was taken down and work started on the construction of the tower that we see today, which was completed in 1530. Then in 1725, 2 years after the demolition of All Saints Church, which left only the Tudor tower standing, the Scottish architect James Gibbs completes work on the nave built in the classical alignment style which we see today. You can see all this amazing structure when you go inside the church, which I happen to go in right after Sunday service. And at that point I was like, man, I wish I would have actually just gone to the service. I don't know why I didn't realize it was Sunday, and I could have easily experienced the service and then, filmed, all the other cool things that I basically got to see in there and talk to some of the people there and all that stuff. It felt a little weird being like a tourist just like interrupting their service. I didn't interrupt it. They were just like, oh, hold on, we're almost done with service. You can come on in. But I was still like, oh man, I felt bad. But like I was saying, there were so many beautiful structures. There was so many different statues that you can see there, talking about the history of the church and some important figures that had association with the church, figures that were actually buried below the church, like the woman Bess of Hardwick, who was born in 1527 and died in 1608 at the age of 81. Eventually went down to St. Catherine's Chapel, which everyone was easily acceptable. They're like, come on in, you can come down here and pray, basically. So I went down there just to check it out, and it was really cool. It was actually really cold down there, and it was really beautiful. It was really cool just to see like all the cool things that they have in these churches. The people in the church were very friendly. They were super nice. They were super cool. They were like, go ahead and check everything out. If you have any questions, let me know. And that was also really cool of them. There was also a woman named Florence Nightingale, who was born in 1820 and died in 1910, who was born to a Derbyshire family and was the first woman member of the Order of Merit and the founder of the nursing profession, which I thought was very fascinating because I had no clue. At one point in my life, I was trying to be a nurse, and obviously that did not pan out, which is fine, but I had no clue that the founder of the nursing profession came from Derby or Derbyshire. It might not be Derby specifically. I don't know that. One really cool and random thing was the woman Bess of Hardwick purchased an area in the church to build a crypt to house her remains and those of her descendants. She did this in 1590, and her remains are still buried in that crypt to this day. I think it's really cool that this cathedral has been around for so long. I don't think there's a cathedral or church in the United States that's been around, obviously, since 985. But I love that it's also still being used to this day. Like I was saying earlier, they were having a service before I even was able to go in there and check everything out. So I'm like, man, it's insane to me to think of all the thousands or hundreds of people who have gone to this church, been part of this church, and it's still living on till this day. And it probably will keep going on for I don't even know how long, hundreds of years most likely, probably even thousands. This was just a short video of the cool cathedral, the Derby Cathedral, which stands right in the heart of Derby, with a cool little English flag just flowing at the top. I think that's really cool. And there was a lot more history I could have read, but I also was kind of feeling bad that I was like feeling, like they just had service and I'm like, should I even be here? I don't know. I wish I would have learned more and read more about it. But if you're ever in Derby, I would suggest to go and see this cathedral. They know people want to come and see it because it looks cool. But also maybe you can try going to one of the services on Sunday, unlike me that I unfortunately wasn't able to see. Anyways, I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it that thumbs up. If you're new to your channel, consider subscribing. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys on the next one.